The red lines have been set. Aside from those that are perfectly obvious and that we already know about, what are they?
That's right, Matt. And they're obvious, but it is significant that von der Leyen, in her first trip to London, the first time she met with the Prime Minister since taking office, she made it very clear in a way that's incredibly explicit that trade deal to be done in 1 year, big comprehensive trade deal, is simply, quote, impossible. It's not going to happen. It's a question of priorities. And once again, she did stress something that you hear from Brussels officials many times, the idea of alignment, the idea that the United Kingdom leaving the European Union does not fully mean that if you want to still trade with the EU, you can go completely away from European rules, standards, and regulation. And then secondly, of course, the big thing here is protecting the single market. Von der Leyen saying, look, I'm not going to do anything that could hurt the single market. This is still the crown jewel for the European Union. It binds everyone together, and we have to protect it. But perhaps is that quote, this trade deal in 1 year, it's impossible. We do not think as the EU that it can be done. Perhaps it's a political question that Boris Johnson will have to answer himself.
Yeah, so von der Leyen, quite clear, she thinks that you can't do this full trade deal. Downing Street still says it thinks a Canada-style deal is possible, but then that leads us perhaps into some sort of fudge or middle ground where small deals take place. And it was interesting, I was drawn to this line that the UK doesn't want to go down the nothing is agreed until everything is agreed route, which sort of opens up the conversation to sort of mini deals, sector deals. Is that where we're heading here, Maria?
That could be a possibility, Anna, but again, for the Europeans, nothing is agreed until everything is agreed. This is the way they work, and they do believe that sustaining those rules and those European standards are the key to protect the single market. And as I mentioned, this is the crown jewel. This is something that the Europeans will not or would not be in a position to compromise or would want to compromise in any way. But perhaps, again, the question here, and this is, again, what we're hearing, seeing many times in Brussels, is that you could be in a situation where perhaps this is a matter of getting a quick basic trade deal done by the end of the year, or perhaps changing the nature of the transition, or perhaps, again, a fudge in terms of the deadlines going forward to get a bigger comprehensive trade deal. And just to touch on the Canadian point very quickly, of course, the UK is hoping for that trade deal. You can see why. You can see the appeal. Almost 100% of goods are tariff-free. But again, that trade deal took years to negotiate, and the Canadians ultimately did have to align with the EU on a number of issues. Boris Johnson has been crystal clear he does not want to do that.